Well, I'll say this for these. They're well ventilated.
Yes, and those are getting too small for me.
I'll get you some more from the Army and Navy stores. More oil in this house than there's in the flaming state of Texas.
Yes, you're quite right, love. I ought to pull myself together. Try not to be so grotty. After all, it's not everyone who's married to the district supervisor of Charm Cosmetics.
What's all this in made of?
Nothing. Just thinking I ought to offer a more presentable image when these dolly birds come to the front door.
What dolly birds?
Your housewives, your part-time sales force. Hey, what about a personnel manager?
How about a thick ear?
You know what Nina Sharple says about you, don't you? She says they've got plates on their front gates about people like you. You're a hawker and a canvasser.
Does she? Well, I suppose I am. What does it matter?
Oh, nothing to me. Except that I can't help wondering what is the difference between your sales ladies purveying perfume at the front door and the raggle-taggle gypsies, though, who are flogging their plastic flowers at the back.
Don't you know?
No.
We don't play guitars.
Neither do they, as far as I know.
Does it bother you?
What, that they don't play guitars?
No, the gypsies. Do they bother you?
Yes.
Why? There's nothing wrong with them.
Well, it's not so much the gypsies, dear. It's the neighbours. You know neighbours? They're fine for 3 or 4 pints of beer and a game of dominoes, the dog track results on a Saturday afternoon, and God's in his heaven. But you introduce a minority group, someone slightly different. There'll be parades of protest all up and down the streets.
Once more, where Miss Lucilla Hewitt is.
And I'm telling you, I don't know where
But she was
Miss
here
Lucille-
last night.
Yes, she was.
She spent the night here.
No, she didn't.
I'm informed that she did.
Well, I'm telling you, she didn't.
You're a liar.
Oh, don't call me a liar, Mrs.
Oh, you're used to worse names than that.
That's true, missus. We get used to it.
Well, then, you ought to be ashamed of yourselves and not go living on rubbish dumps and not go begging and stealing.
Missus, just watch what you're saying, will you?
Why? Will you use violence against me?
No, missus. We leave that to you Giorgios. I'm just asking you, what would you say?
Oh, I'll watch it all right. And what I am saying, you take good note of. Take very good note of. Because if Miss Hewitt isn't back by dinner time, I shall set the police on you. Make no mistake about it.
They could have murdered her and buried the body. Oh, don't talk wet. Hey, up, let's through. Oh, for goodness sake. Don't you read the newspapers? Because I do. Look, it's not gypsies what do that kind of thing. I mean, Mr. Turpin says the last thing they want is trouble. Oh, well, he's a know-all. Well, it's a bit different to yours. He's a know-nothing. As a matter of fact, he had to help last year evicting a few of them, and he was very upset because of the little children. Little children? Snotty-nosed little brats.
That's rather a cruel thing to say, isn't it, Hilda? All the same, I can hardly blame the police for doing their duty. The people one should condemn are the parents for placing their children in such distress.
Yeah, well, I'm neutral, so don't look at me. Ah, well, I'm not. Me, I wouldn't give them house room.
Hello, Hilda. Being your usual two-faced self again.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean. You were entertaining one of them in your house last night.
Entertaining?
Is this true, Hilda?
Well, I wasn't exactly entertaining. All I did was give him a meal. Well, I didn't even know it was him. One of them until he'd finished wiping his plate clean with some of my bread.
How could you?
Well, I thought he was a friend of Stan's. Well, they're not fair, them gypsies, you know. You can't tell them from us at times.
You mean they ought to wear big earrings, love?
Oh, I'll put a ring through your flipping nose if you don't shut up.
Hilda, darling, you know I had some scrap nicked.
Oh, yeah, I heard.
Yeah, well, now, the only 3 people I caught in my yard yesterday were you as Stan, his new playmate, the Gyppo, and Tommy Deakin. So it points to one of them, and I checked with Tommy.
Well, it isn't my Stan.
Well, of course it isn't. But as you know, in this heaven-blessed country of ours, a man is innocent until he's proved guilty, right?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Right, Mrs. Turpin?
Yeah.
Right. So I think that much of your good husband that I want to prove him innocent.
Ah. Oh, yeah, he'd like that.
Yes, I'm sure he would. So I want to take a deco in your backyard.
Oh, well, there's an out in there on in my bin and a bucket with my floor cloths.
Do you know, I like Hilda, in spite of what everybody says about her. You're very cooperative. Then when I've checked there's not but what you say there is, then we'll know it's the Gyppos, won't we?
Yeah.
Then I'll be able to sort the Gyppos out.
You opening up a chemist shop, are you?
No.
You've got cures there for diseases what haven't even been invented.
Oh, well, it's best to be sure, missus.
Do you want any corn plasters?
No.
Or finger stores, burn dressings or eye patches?
No.
You know, it's a pity you didn't come in last week. It was a bargain week. I let half a dozen ambulances go cheap. They'd have just suited you. That's 11 and 9 you owe me.
Sickness?
Just stocking up, ma.
How old's the baby?
You are?
The baby. How old is it? That stuff's for bairns.
Oh, he'll be all right.
Oh, yes.
He's 5.
And you're going to pour all that stuff down him?
Well, you've got to try, see which works.
By heck, have you? Look, I think I'll come back with you.
No, thanks, ma. It'll be all right. It's not much.
I don't think you've got much option to let me come back. I'm investigating.
Investigating?
Yes, a woman called Minnie Colwell. You wouldn't know her. But she and her blooming old tomcat have moved in on me. They're both under the impression that you eat cats.
Well, you'll have to take us as you find us.
I always do. It's a pity the others don't. Where's the baby's mother?
She's out selling flowers. Well, you've got to live, don't you?
I suppose so.
Come on in.
Oh, you don't have to, missus. You don't have to ask me, and I could have stayed on the step. Oh, isn't it a lovely... What a lovely house. Oh, you're a lady of artistic taste. You have the gift.
So have you, with the gab.
Do you mind me asking, but are you of the travelling blood? Only there's a travelling family we meet whenever there's a funeral. The ladies, just like you, they come from Galway.
No connection that I know of, love. You see, the thing about this house is I'm tied to it with an invisible elastic band, and every time I try to travel, something bangs me back and slaps me head against the wall.
But you're going to travel a lot.
Yes, I know. We've got a sales meeting in Stockport next week.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'll...
Oh, no, it's a daft. Come in, this is,
Yes, we met.
Oh.
The lady was kind enough to give my little girl some books for Miss Hewitt to teach her to read.
And this lady was kind enough to guarantee me 5 kids.
Yeah, the 2 beautiful little children you've already got and 3 more. 3 boys.
You didn't happen to tell her where she could get a babysitter while she was at it, did you? I'll put the kettle on.
Oh, I must go, Elsie.
You'll stop where you are. It's a long time since there's been people in this house, real people, mad people.
Oh, thank
Oh,
you.
you know what I mean. Performing seals, girl bagpipers and chimpanzees cleaning the teeth in the sink.
Well, I'll go.
No, you won't. You'll stay here as well. I'll have your flowers. How much are they?
5 shillings a bunch.
All right, I'll take a bunch. Here, Chuck.
Oh, I hope good fortune will always be yours.
Well, just don't hope. Tell me. Well, you tell fortunes, don't you?
Oh, no, I just say things that come. I know
What you know. I know. Well, come on, tell me mine.
Oh, I can't.
Why ever not?
Because you're too much one of us. But I can tell you past.
Get away. If you could tell me past, you wouldn't be selling me flowers. You'd be blackmailing me.
You've been married more than once.
Right, go on.
You've 3 children.
Wrong. 2.
Are you sure?
Well, I better be sure, love, else my memory's failing me.
Oh, aye, that's right. 2. It's clear now.
Satisfied?
Well, it's clean enough, I'll grant you that, but then of course it should be, shouldn't it?
Oh, what is that?
Well, you're not exactly short of brass, are you?
Oh, well, you got to live.
Live? You've got a wad of notes in your back pocket that's thicker than most folk have seen in a month of Sundays.
Oh, well, there's expenses when you're travelling. Petrol and that. Upkeep.
You want to try some of that upkeep on your children.
Now, look, lady, they're not neglected.
That child needs a doctor, never mind your honey and glycerin and lemon and cod liver oil and whatnot that you're pouring down him.
You can't get a doctor. Not for us lot.
Oh?
We're not on the health.
What do you mean you're not on the health? You might not be on anybody's panel, but that doesn't mean to say you can't get a doctor if you want one.
Well, you just try and get one.
I intend to.
Oh, no, look, lady, leave us alone. Keep out of our affairs. We don't get involved in yours.
Don't you? Look, when you pitched camp in our district and you came round peddling, asking for water and things, you became involved. Now I'm getting involved with you. I've told you. I'll find you, Doctor. Or will you be moving on?
No such luck. Some rotten Giorgio came round in the night and swiped our distributor heads. Our motors, they won't move. We're stuck.
Now, do you see these?
Yeah.
Now, do you see them again? Now, this is
Yeah.
not a trick. This was passed down from Nebuchadnezzar himself through my parents and my parents' parents.
Give over.
Now, I want you to pretend that those are diamonds.
Diamond?
Or rubies.
Yeah, but you wish they were.
Don't I? Do you know what I'd do? I'd buy horses. You know, the asphalting's no good. I mean, people don't want their paths doing in the winter. But I'd buy horses, My father had the finest string of horses in the world. Now, did you ever see a red horse? A red spotted horse? There was this one who used to rear up on his
Look,
hind
never
legs.
mind that. Let's get back to this Nebuchadnezzar business, eh? Them diamonds, eh?
Hello.
Hello, Mrs.
Ray wants to do a quick tour of the backyard.
All right.
It's the plumbing. He wants to check on the plumbing. Come on, Chuck.
Yeah, well, look, now, come on. Them diamonds, eh?
Hey, Mustang. I don't think your missus likes me.
Oh, it's only 'cause you're a jippo, that's all. She's suspicious, thinks you're going to turn her into a frog or something, you know.
I wish I could, mate. My missus will be first. Do you know, she's only a little woman, but when I come back with a night on the bevy,
Oh, no, mate, they're all the same. Mind you, if you could turn her into a sort of second Rackwell Welsh, he might keep me off the bevy, mightn't it?
Me too, shake hands.
Hey, come on, them diamonds.
Now, you must count up to 7 now. 1, 2, 3...
Me, scrap's been nicked.
Oh, aye.
But it's not in your yard.
I could have told you that. I'm not a flipping thief.
No. But this was.
Oh, that doesn't count. I've had that 6 months. Borrowed it off Len, you know.
I'm borrowing it back. Well, that rules everybody out, doesn't it? Except our visitors, our itinerant friends. We'll have to teach them some manners, won't we?
Give us your glass.
Thanks very much.
Wait a minute, love. I'll get you, love. Right, Chuck. Yes, I'll get it for you now, love. There you are, love. There's yours. Oh, there you are, dear. Thanks a lot, love. Tart. There's that there. Oh, it is. Come on. Stand on there, love, would you? What was in that? Yeah, anyway, there.
Okay.
That's it. Tart. I shall give them another 10 minutes and then I shall phone the police.
Well, I think you're quite right, Mrs. Walker. It's the only thing them lot understand.
Exactly. Heaven knows I am a reasonable woman. I went down this morning to discuss it with them. Just tell me where Miss Lucille Hewitt is, I said, and what did I get for my pains? A stream of abuse.
Oh, they're a load of ignorant savages. Do you know, there's one comes in the shop, you should see his eyes. They're all over the place. I'm frightened of turning me back, you know, for what he might knock off.
I know. I warned Lucille, but would she listen to me? Oh, dear me,
You see,
no.
I'm on my own in that shop, Mrs. Walker. They could break in, take the till, help themselves, and God knows what else.
Well, I'm terrified of what they might have done to Lucille.
I can imagine, Mrs. Walker.
I mean, people think I'm biased, but I'm not. But Lucille, apart from Billy, well, she's all I've got left. I've brought her up since she was a little girl. Now, if they have harmed one hair of her head, just 10 minutes I give them, and that's all.
Perhaps this petition of yours will do some good. Well, it might get them shifted any road.
Yes, well, let's hope so. Betty?
Yeah?
Have they all signed?
Oh, just about, love, but I think it's a waste of good ink. Nobody'll take any notice. Still, as I said, I'm neutral.
Alphabet, please, then.
Yes, of course.
You know, my horoscope today said that I would receive a very exciting invitation which I must not under any circumstances refuse. So, Val, have you anything you want to ask me?
Not that I can think of, no.
Don't be shy.
Don't worry, I'm not being.
In that case, would you like a babysitter?
Ah, now I might be interested.
Good, because I'll get you one and then I can take you out for the night. Only Ken did say to look after you.
Did he ever tell you about the time he looked after me when he was lodging with us?
Who needs flaming enemies? I can still feel fair close fist. It's not funny either.
Mrs. Sharples, will you please get off that telephone?
I'm paying for the call.
I don't care.
It's called urgent.
And so is mine.
Mine's for the doctor.
And mine is for the police.
It's still urgent?
Lucy, where on earth have you been?
Vera Bland's.
All night?
Of course all night. What do you think I've been doing? Sleeping rough on Red Wreck?
Look, I'm asking you civil questions and I should be glad for civil answers. Why did you go to Vera Bland's?
Because it wasn't very comfortable here.
Why on earth not? I see, because of the gypsies.
Well, you can't blame her, can you? I've been going on at her a bit.
And to some good effect, apparently, Mrs. Sharples. There's one thing I am pleased about. Apparently she's not thrown in a lot with her Romany friends.
Well, I wouldn't be too pleased if I were you. It could just come to that.
I'm hanging on for the doctor. Do you want him to come and see you?
Come in. What is it? Them motors?
Oh, just little things.
What little things?
Little things like distributor heads.
Distributor heads? That's what my husband said. It was you, wasn't it? It was you two. Oh, we could have moved tonight.
Oh, don't be daft, missus. We got enough work without creating it.
It was you. All you Georges are the same.
Madam, we are both trained mechanics. We know that the simplest, easiest, quietest way to put a car out of order is to take the rotor arm out of the distributor.
Well, how much? How much will it cost?
Well, it could be a couple of quid.
You wait here. I'll get £2 from my husband.
But we haven't done the job yet.
£2, you said. I'll get it for you.
And it could be about 3 quid, yeah.
Smart people.
Smart people. Their whole life on 2 wheels.
What do they call themselves? Freeborn men of the travelling people. Do you think it's worth it?
Well, they seem to think so.
Freeborn men? Kicked from pillar to post?
Well, perhaps they like being kicked about.
Three pints of bitter brandy.
Not in here.
What's that?
I said, not in here. I refuse to serve you.
You can't do that.
Oh, yes, she can.
Oh, come on, let's get out.
Hang on a minute, they're mates of mine. 3 pints.
You heard what I said, Mr. Ogden?
Hey, are you refusing to serve my husband?
Look, you keep it. It's nothing to do with you.
Oh, yes, it is, Chuck. I'm asking you.
Only your husband's so-called friends, Mrs. Ogden.
Right, well, if you refuse to serve them, you can refuse to serve me, for good.
And me. A good hunting flying horse.
Come to think of it, I don't think the war could do me any harm either. Have you they'd done the place up? Are you coming, Val?
Oh, keep me out of it. I don't drink much, so it doesn't matter.
Look, being strictly neutral, Mrs. Walker, I mean, I think it'd be best if we served them. You know, you're going to feel a dropping in the takings if you're going to let a few of these customers go. You may serve them, Mrs. Turpin. I certainly will not. 3 pints, love. Yeah.
I didn't know they served beer in a thief's kitchen.
Who are you calling a thief?
You.
Oh, come on, let's get out of here.
You get out of nowhere, not till I get my scrap back. That's all I'm asking, lads, my scrap back.
I haven't touched your scrap.
Oh, a liar and all, eh?
That's my father's hat. And that's sacred. And I swear upon that hat, I haven't touched your scrap.
Well, we'll have to see whether you're telling the truth, won't we? In the meantime, I get a new hat, a tinnin.
Oh, you're a great one for talking about stealing, aren't you? What about that bottle of whiskey you nicked from here?
Oh, Lucy, darling, I do love you. You never forget, do you?
You're still in the jungle, aren't you? It's all you understand.
That's right, it's all I understand.
So what are you going to do about it?
I'm just going to get in touch with a few of my fun-loving pals and sort them lot on their flea carts tomorrow.
Well, I'll be there, so you'll have to sort me out and all.
Remember the nursery rhyme, Lucy, darling? My mother said I never should play with the gypsies in the wood.
The wood is dark, the grass is green. In comes Sally with a tambourine.
Clever little girl, aren't you?
By gum, you're quite right. You can't get a doctor for loving the money.
Well, I told you, you shouldn't have bothered. We look after ourselves.
That little lad's got tonsillitis. Somebody should look at him. It looks to me it's going to take a miracle to get someone. Oh, by gum, it looks as though we already have a miracle. Mr. Deakin, would you mind coming into the snug with me for a minute?
Not at all, missus. I don't blame you wanting to get away from these undesirable aliens.
Pass me the telephone book, will you, love? Them lot. Them gypsies.
Scum of the earth, foreigners, they shouldn't be allowed in this country at all.
They're Catholics, most of them, aren't they?
Well, maybe that's what they call themselves.
Which church is it you go to? St. Anne's?
Me? Oh, well, no, that's a debatable point.
Well, which church should you go to?
St. Anne's.
And who's your priest?
Are you going to remuster, are you?
I'm all right as I am. Who's your priest?
Well, now, there's Father O'Sullivan and Father Hanley. Now, Father O'Sullivan, he's a right difficult with the confessions. He'd have you in the box for nearly an hour, wasting good drinking time. Father Hanley, he's all right. He'd have you outside before you finished telling him your first sin.
And who's your parish priest?
Oh, that'd be Father O'Sullivan.
That's all I want to know. Maybe he can put the fear of the Lord in some of these doctors.
Oh, Mrs. Sharples, when you phone him, don't mention my name.
I still can't get used to setting 3 places. I cooked 4 breakfasts this morning.
Well, all you've got to do is to ask somebody else around to eat with you, that's
Oh,
all.
well, I wouldn't have any problem there.
No, I bet you wouldn't.
Even the butcher's offered to deliver since he found Ken had gone.
Look, if you ever want any help getting rid of fellas, come to me, I'm the expert. For instance, when they take the back of the hand to kiss it, all you need is a sharp karate chop on the back of the neck.
I think Ken's idea is the best. When a fella starts getting romantic, you ask him how his wife's keeping these days. Well, I prefer Elsie's method. It's quicker. Oh, I'm sorry, love. Do you want serving?
No, it's all right. I'll wait. Ladies first.
Oh, that's nice anyway, isn't it?
How do you know we're ladies?
Oh, I'm sure you are. You all look like ladies to me.
Come on,
smooth
kid.
with it, eh?
Let's get going while
Should
we're
I
waiting.
should I come with you then?
Eh?
You are Mrs. Howard, aren't you? Elsie, yeah? Mark, I'm Mark. Mark Howard, your stepson.
Stepson, Elsie, you never told us.
Oh, I must have done. Yes, I must. Come on home then, Mark. Let's be going.